Everybody, my name is Brendan Neal, and I decided to do the scenario I chose was the one about the challenging person who must be right. Um, After reading them, this one drew my attention the most because I feel like this would probably be the most real life um, example that they gave us, and one that you probably are going to experience the most when it comes to somebody's kid and their playing time. Uh, First thing when I read this was definitely that this would be one that I would struggle with personally. It's one that in my younger years I definitely would have just told this guy, this parent, um, the truth with I wouldn't sugarcoat it to say the least. But now having grown up, I understand that everybody just wants what's best for their child. I can kind of see where this parent's coming from. So I've learned to kind of control myself with my response to Mr. or Mrs. Jones on how their child, on the steps that we could take to figure out what the core issue here is with everything going on. So just to generalize here with these parents who are the challenging people who are the must be right category. I mean, they're generally going to be someone who's angry. They're going to give you sarcastic responses generally, and they're going to like to overinflate the situation. So in this case, in particular, I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Jones say that their child doesn't play at all. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe the child is playing, just not as much as they would like. So the first thing that I would look at is I would try and figure out how to handle the situation. And after doing a bit of reading um, from this chapter and just from other people that I've talked to, the number one thing I think you have to do is just kind of collect yourself and be patient with the person. Again, I know using explicit language, I know would make me agitated, and I'd want to say something right back to him, but being the AD and being the administrator, you got to control your emotions. Um, you have to be in check of everything, and you also just want to listen and be attentive to what uh, the challenging person is saying to you. You want to make sure that you get away, you kind of steer away from their anger and kind of ask more specific questions on what it really is bothering them, which in this example, the AD does a good job of, where he acknowledges that, hey, I can see that you're clearly upset. Can we discuss in further detail what it is exactly that is upsetting you? So I think that was a good example there. And then you also want to finally, of course, propose some sort of solution that addresses the concerns of the parent. Um, so in this situation, the AD tries to set up a meeting with the coach, with the student athlete, and with the parent all at once, which I think is a great idea. I know me personally, the first thing I would do after that meeting and after I had talked to the parent and tried to set up some sort of meeting with him or her, I would talk to the coach and I would get to the bottom of it, say, hey, have they talked to you at all? I'd want to hear the coach's side of the story, obviously, and see what he's done in this situation. See, maybe there is the small chance that maybe there is the coach is being unfair to the student athlete. You also have to look at that as being a possibility. Although I would trust my coaches that they are making the right decisions on who to play and who to sit. I know a lot of people uh, think that just because you're a good student, you show up on time, you do your work, that you're automatically guaranteed playing time, and that's just not the case. I think that would be true in maybe middle school and on down, but I think when you get to high school and on up, um, obviously you just want the best players playing, who also obviously are going to represent your school well as well. You don't want to just play anybody who, is just a wild cannon or whatever. So, some other things that you could do throughout this is shift the focus. Shift it away from um, their anger, and like I said, shift it more towards asking specific questions on what it really is bothering them. And like I said, you just want to you got to come to common ground and find a solution. You just got to keep your calm, keep your emotions in check, and really just be patient with the person. Try and put yourself in their shoes. Understand that they are upset. Try and divert that situation, and find the solution that would, um, even though that's even the solution may not be that the challenging person, the parent in this case, sees more playing time for the kid. I know they would want to see that for sure, but maybe the student athlete, just their talent level uh, isn't up to par as everyone else's. So to me, the solution would be have that meeting and kind of compare, um, and contrast, the what the student does with what the student's ability is with some of his teammates, and show why he specifically is not um, getting the playing time that the parent thinks that they deserve. So overall, I thought this was an interesting scenario. I think it's the one that's going to come up most uh, throughout an athletic director's career. So I thought this was a good one to kind of hone in on and figure out really what is the best route to handle this. So I'm glad that this was the one I chose. So thank you.